Algebra 1 students. Today we will be learning how to solve a literal equation for a specified variable. So let's start out with a definition of what a literal equation is. So a literal equation is one which is expressed in terms of variable symbols and constants. Now that definition might be kind of dry, but when you look at a literal equation a bit later, you're going to see some examples, and you're going to see what I mean by expressing them in terms of variables and constants. Now, often in science and math, you are given an equation like these and asked to solve for a particular variable or a letter called the unknown. So let me go over a few examples on how you're going to do this, and you're going to see how easy it is to solve a literal equation for a specified variable. For example, you're looking at a formula that represents distance, which is equal to rate times time. And oftentimes we might want to know, well, what is the time that's going to take for us to drive perhaps 40 miles if we're going at 10 miles an hour for some reason, for example. In order to find the time, we basically solve for t. So the way how we solve for t is we want to isolate t. In order to do that, all we have to do is remove the letter r from the right side so t can be by itself. To remove the letter r, basically what you do is you divide everything by r. So divide the right side by r and divide the left side by r. The r will cancel out, leaving you with the letter t being isolated, and then on the left side you have d over r. D over r, and you are done. You have solved for t, and that's pretty much it. So you need to solve and isolate whichever variable they specified alone. Alright, very good. Look at this formula. This is the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle, and perhaps sometimes we just want to find, hey, what is the length if this is the perimeter of a rectangle? So again, we want to solve for the letter L. Therefore, we want to remove anything that is next to L away from it. Let's start with the original problem. And the first thing I want to remove is I want to remove this plus 2w away from the right side. And in order to do that, all you have to do is subtract 2w from both sides. So I'm going to go minus 2w minus 2w. And let's go ahead and simplify this first. So on the right side, we have 2L that's left because these two guys, they'll cancel out. On the left side, we're going to rewrite that as P minus 2W. All right. And so we got rid of this 2W, which is on the same side as L. And our next step is to remove the 2 away from L. And in order to do that, all you have to do is divide both sides by 2, like this. Divide both sides by 2. Okay, because if you divide both sides by 2, the 2 on top and the bottom will cancel out, leaving you with L. So here's what we have left. We got L, which is on the right side, is equal to P minus 2W divided by 2. Now you can leave it like this, or if you choose to, you can also write it like that. I'm sorry, write it like this. P over 2 minus 2W over 2. And if you rewrite it like in this form, then guess what? These two will cancel out. And you can even simplify the expression a bit. You can simplify the equation a bit further down to P over 2 minus W equals to L. So either this form or the first form will be accepted as your final answer. All right, very good. Let's go ahead and take a look at this formula. Now, perhaps you haven't seen this formula in the past, but this formula basically stands for interest versus the amount of money that you're depositing or you're investing. So perhaps an R usually represents the rate, how much interest is the bank willing to give you. And so what we do is we go ahead and we solve for R by, and the bell might ring in a few minutes, but don't let the bell bother you because I'm making the video in class. So what you do is you divide both sides by P, so A equals to P1 plus RT. I told you. So I want to solve for R, so I divide both sides by P. Okay, so I have A over P equals to, these P cancels out, I have 1 plus RT. Okay, subtract 1 to both sides. So I have RT equals to A over P minus 1. And then divide both sides by T. Okay, so that T cancels out and you have R. So R equals to A over P minus 1 over T. Alright, there you go. Now that was hard, so take your time and rewatch the video, and if you need help, talk to your teacher tomorrow. I'm going to leave example 4 as a challenge for you. Make sure you complete this and turn it in the next time you see your teacher.